Hi, my name is Jim Connell. I'm here with Alyssa Pullin, who is a recent grad from Boston College. Welcome, Alyssa.
Hi, thank you.
So I wanted to just tell everybody I'm doing a series. My goal is to speak with 6 recent grads, ask them about their college experience, talk a little bit about what they're looking for in terms of work. So Alyssa is my second guest, and I'd like to get 4 more. So if you know anybody, feel free to message me. But let's get right into it, Alyssa. Can you tell me a couple great experiences? I know you like Boston. We talked on the phone. Tell me a couple really great experiences you had while studying at BC.
Absolutely. So I'd say the first one would be in my academic experience as an English major. And as a Spanish minor as well. I love working with language and working with people and studying the humanities. It's really brought a lot of interest into the complexity of the human character for me. And it's interesting too, because the second thing that I really love is health coaching with the Office of Health Promotion at BC. And that actually ties into how I originally entered college, which was as a biology major on the pre-med track. And I thought I wanted to be a doctor, but those plans shifted. But my interest in health still remains and still remains to this day. So I got involved with health coaching, and with that, our sort of our motto is to educate, motivate, and refer other students, so our peers, in developing their own personally defined health goals, and then working with them to develop strategies to get there. And so I've really loved it. We do individual and group coaching sessions as well as promotional events, and that part of it has been really exciting. I love putting a table up out on the quad or in a dining hall and telling people about our services, and which are my group that I'm in is stress management. So that we call it iChill, and it's really fun. And I've learned a lot about myself and a lot about other people through it.
That's great. Tell me a little bit about the experiences you've had with your internships. And then, but before that, we were talking offline, and I thought it was an interesting story, and maybe you'll get to this throughout your internships, but tying together going into school thinking pre-med and then moving to English with a minor in Spanish. Can you talk a little bit or touch on that journey? I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first year at BC was difficult and challenging, but also beautiful in a lot of ways. I definitely struggled to succeed academically, and with moving across the country 1,000 miles away, as well as trying to figure out, like, how do I take care of myself in this new environment? How do I manage my time in this new place? I slowly began to realize that, this biology curriculum was not what I expected it to be, and I didn't feel like I was excelling. And with a place that has the motto "ever to excel," it's kind of hard to feel like, oh, I'm doing a great job with this if, you're not filling up, you're not kind of working in that regard. So I thought, okay, it's time to take a break and try something else. And really, though, that switch to the English major was great. And that first year, though, with that period, that challenging period, was essential for my personal growth and for my success in the later years with the English major and with the rigorous reading and writing course load, because I gained a better awareness then of overall of what I was good at and what brings me joy. And now, sort of, as I'm leaving and as I'm going into this new phase, I'm trying to understand who the world needs me to be. And that's difficult, and I'm prepared, and I almost expect some of my answers to those big questions to change and shift as I grow and learn. But that's sort of how that story took shape and affected me, and made me who I am today, I think.
I think that's thank you for sharing that, because I think it's a common thing that I've heard with college students, especially freshman year, where there is a struggle, and it sounds like you embraced the struggle and you were self-aware enough to really, in a way, reflect, dig deep, and determine what your next move might be. And I just applaud your process there. And I think, for me anyway, in my humble opinion, I think we need to talk more about the struggles, because the struggles make us who we are and help guide us on the decisions that we make as we progress through life. And I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's something that needs to be talked about perhaps a little bit more than what it is. So can you tell me a little bit, let's jump to the internship piece. And I understand you've had two internships at BC, and you're currently in an internship now. Can you give me an experience or two that has made a big impact on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you about challenges and talking about those and everything. So anyway, the first one I'll touch on is from last summer, where I was working in Spain, in Madrid, actually, at a student exchange startup company, and they're called Vivo Idiomas. And I was doing some communication, social media, marketing type of stuff for them, a lot of promotional materials, and all the work that I did was in Spanish. I worked with people from the Dominican Republic, from Spain, and from the United States. And one thing I learned from that, aside from working in a multicultural setting, but I also learned that I can have a better sense of how to create a professional and engaging client experience, and understanding that the digital marketing strategies that we were implementing had a huge effect on what our clients and the people on the other end of that piece of material or email were feeling, and trying to tap into those feelings and understanding what effect we're having on other people. It was really a great experience there. And then I was also lucky enough to work 2 summers ago at Hollister Incorporated in Libertyville, where my mom works, and she introduced me to their whole thing, which is global medical device manufacturing. And I was doing some market research and analytics for them in their innovation management office. And from that, I learned that I could go into something where I didn't have a lot of knowledge about things, but in a very short time frame of 8 weeks, I could learn so much, and I could figure out how to make a document in Excel and present a PowerPoint presentation to show what we worked on in an engaging and relevant format for people. And so I think it really brought me a lot more confidence to know that I can kind of jump into something and not have a great grasp of it, but then come out of it with a lot more than I did before. And finally, right now, I am interning with the University of St. Mary the Lake. I'm doing some development work with them, and I like to call my role relationship ambassador and a story creator. And so what I'm working on right now is developing success stories of the Institute's graduates, the Institute for Pastoral Leadership there. I'm working with Dr. Catherine Sims, if anyone knows who that is that's watching. She's lovely. She's the best. Anyway, so we are collecting stories of successful graduates of the Institute for Pastoral Leadership, and in the hopes that at the end of the summer I can create a webpage or the like to promote the programs that they have there at the Institute. And yeah, and it's really great, and it's just reinforced how I love listening to people's stories, and sort of taking some of the data work that and analysis work that I did with Hollister and combining that with this experience to track and manage communications efforts and all of that has been really amazing. And I just love how fun it is to kind of talk to people and hear their stories all the time.
That's wonderful. I happen to know Catherine.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're fortunate to be working along with her because she is a phenomenal person and super, super bright. I love Catherine. But tell me a little bit about, so it sounds like you had some kind of a variety of different, let me ask you one question. Let me back up a second. What was your first internship role specifically? What was the company again, and what did you do? What was the title?
The first one I mentioned was last summer. That was with Vivo Idiomas, and my role was inbound marketing or digital marketing intern there.
Okay, got it. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Let's segue into you're graduated now. Congratulations. What are you looking for? I know you've had some interviews and things like that 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 were positive experiences. So best wishes with everything there. But what kind of role are you looking for now? Tell me a little bit specifically about, do you have any target companies? Are you looking for a specific title, a specific industry? Can you just add some color to that for me, Alyssa?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been casting a wide net because of the uncertainty that's going on right now. But I'm primarily interested in associate or coordinator types of roles in development and fundraising, or marketing and communications, things like that blend a lot of this, a lot of these people focused type of areas. And my target industries right now or recently have been healthcare, public health, wellness, that type of stuff, as well as higher education and nonprofits. And some examples of places that I would love to work would be Partners in Health, which is based in Boston, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, also in Boston, Noom, which is relatively new. It sounds really cool. There's a ton of institutions of higher education that I would love to work at, BC, Harvard, Boston University, as well as some in Chicago as well, Northwestern, UChicago, and major hospital networks, all those types of things would be wonderful places to work.
Okay, good. That gives me some ideas. Do I see a theme here about Boston? Perhaps you're interested in going back to Boston?
Yeah, that would be lovely if I could go back to Boston. I am trying to keep a wide radius in terms of geography, sure. But my primary area is Boston, and if I get the pleasure of staying in Chicago as well, that would be wonderful.
That's great. So tell me, what do you do for fun? What are some of your hobbies? What do you spend your time doing?
Yeah, so I love to, as it's probably not a surprise, but I love to read and I love to write. So I've got a few books going right now that I've started on my Kindle, which is super fun. But I also love dancing and yoga. I've danced since I was younger, and lately I've been cooking more because I've been at home and I've had more time on my hands, not be rushing from one thing to the next on campus and whatnot. I haven't been making any sourdough, but that's not really my thing. But I love cooking and that type of stuff.
I have a neighbor who, I guess the sourdough thing is kind of a thing now, right?
Yeah, it's super trendy right now to make sourdough.
I love the trend. I have to tell you, my neighbor is a phenomenal cook and baker. Her name is Sarah. And she sent over recently banana bread that was with sourdough. It was phenomenal. Everything she does is great, but I love the new trend because I'm on the receiving end. So,
Exactly.
so tell me a little bit about uh, I have a question around books because I'm a book geek myself. Um, can you share with me one of your favorite all-time books and why you liked it?
Yeah. That's it's definitely a tough question. There've been a lot of books the past couple of years. I'd say the first thing that comes to my head is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. And that book I read in my sophomore year medical humanities course. It is about end of life care and how we approach that and talk with our loved ones about that. And what's beautiful about it is it's a topic that cuts across so many boundaries and borders and whatnot. But the author, Kalanithi, does an amazing job of demonstrating how end of life care can be so different as well for people in different situations and backgrounds and whatnot. And the next layer where it gets even more touching or heartbreaking is that the author himself started facing his own end of life situation, and the book was published posthumously, and that whole side of it really amplifies the story to a whole nother level. And overall, he did a wonderful job of illustrating the complexity of the human condition with an issue that it's eternal. Strangely enough, it's such a strange word to use for that, but it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to check that book out. I am personally, my mom is 90 years old, and my dad died years ago, but my mom's in great shape. But we are, me and my siblings, and my mom, of course, and family in general are we're thinking about these things. So I'd love to check out that book. Thanks for sharing that. I'm always interested, and I know it's a tough question. It's like saying, who's your favorite band? I mean, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what your dream job is. I love asking people of any age or anything is, if you could do anything, and know that you would be financially secure and all of that stuff, what are one or two things that you would just love to do?
Yeah. So that's also a tough one. But I would say there's a few common threads that tie together all the things that I mentioned before with sort of what I'm looking for right now. And those would be that I'm looking for something that is people centered. And I studied human beings basically for my college major, and I would just love to involve people with my work. I would love to have my work be mission driven and have a cause that I can really get behind, so I can feel that I'm doing something purposeful and meaningful. And if it can be related to healthcare and wellness and public health, that would be amazing.
That's great. That's great. Mine's rock star, by the way.
Amazing. I love that.
That's not going to happen, but or producer. I'd love to produce music, but the music industry is so crazy right now, and I'm a little bit behind on that. I think never say never, but you never know. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. It's great to meet you, and if I can be of any help along your journey, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I really appreciate what you've done so far. You've got a lot of great experiences, a variety of experiences. I'm really fascinated with the journey that you were on, especially earlier in school. And I just applaud you for having the self-awareness, as I mentioned before, and just examining what is meaningful to you, and then striking out and pursuing that. I think it's wonderful, and keep reading all those books.
Thank you.
Send some more my way, would you? Send me a few titles if you would. And
Absolutely.
so I'll stay in touch, and you do the same, Alyssa. Thanks so much. We're recording this on July 3rd, so have a wonderful 4th. To the audience, anybody that's listening to this, I hope you had a great 4th of July and a safe one, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was a pleasure.
You bet. Talk to you soon.
Bye.